is going on, Buffalo State Hockey? My name is Evan Harrington, alongside with men's head hockey coach Steve Murphy for another episode of Mondays with Murph. First of all, Murph, how you doing?
Good, Ev. Another week of practice here. Looking forward to the first real game here.
All right, so before we talk about the first real game here, let's just take a little more of an advanced recap from this past weekend as you guys played two preseason games in exhibition, one against Ohio and then the other one against Fredonia. You guys beat Ohio 2-0 and then tied Fredonia 2-2 in overtime. But first of all, what were some more, after the weekend letting it sit for a little bit, what were some more advanced thoughts you had from the game?
Well, obviously the first thing I do, especially on a Sunday, go back and watch both games again. And, I think coming out of Friday, it was our first game in a while, and so I knew it was, I knew it wasn't going to be perfect, far from it. I just didn't think we were very good after the game on Friday. You go back and, you're probably never as worse as, you're never as bad as, maybe you think you are at first, and you're probably never as good as, maybe you think you are either. So, I just felt like it was a low energy game. Again, it was the first game in a couple months for us. I thought our enthusiasm or energy would kind of be through the roof, and I just didn't think we had that in the first game against Ohio. I think we got away with a lot of missed opportunities by them, and just really wanted to see us tighten up defensively, better checking, a lot of different things, just habits and fundamentals, just stuff we've been talking about the first couple weeks. And then I thought Saturday, our start was much better. I just felt we had more energy. I thought we got the puck below the tops of the circles and went to work in that first shift, and that kind of set the tone for kind of the rest of the period, and it gave you that model shift that's like, hey, this is what we need to do in order to be successful. Ultimately you fall behind 2-0 on Saturday, and I think I was proud of the guys just for sticking it out. We didn't really fight that adversity on Friday. We go up 1, then up 2. You go down 2, and now it's like, okay, let's see what we're made of. This is good for us this early on in the year, and the guys stuck it out. We just kept working with it. I think in those situations, things can go south really quick. We gave up 2 goals, in a couple minutes, and I think the worst thing that you can do is you start to get away from the way you want to play, and guys start to, maybe put it in their own hands and start playing as individuals. And we didn't really do that. I think we were talking on the bench, we were communicating, hey, just stick with it. Don't play the way that we want to play, and you'll get rewarded. And ultimately, we came back and tied it 2-2, and then I couldn't crack one, in the third in overtime. But I definitely thought it was a giant step just from where we were Friday after that game to Saturday. I think it's going to be minuscule to what we see, obviously, Friday against Kings and the rest of the season.
So you guys did get the chance to play a 3-on-3 overtime. Obviously, it's exhibition, but it's still live game reps. Obviously, more likely not are going to practice 3-on-3 throughout practice, but being able to get it live in game, what did that mean to you and the guys?
Well, first off, it's fun, right? You kind of just let the guys go and play, and you start to try and implement a little bit of the structure that, we've talked about with 3-on-3, both last year and maybe a tad bit this year. We got to practice a little bit of it earlier, last week or whatever it is, and we'll probably practice it a couple more times, but you're right, you don't spend a whole lot of time on it. I think a lot of it's a feel thing and just getting those reps in game. So, 3-on-3 is a lot of open ice. You're probably going to give up some chances if you don't score early, and you're probably going to get some chances if you don't score early. And I think that was the case. I think both teams had their chances to end the game. Ultimately, the goalies came up, pretty large in overtime. But it was just good experience for the guys that got a chance to play in that. I think nowadays, everybody, right from the NHL all the way down to junior hockey, I think most teams are playing 3-on-3. So everyone's kind of got their own experiences and a little bit of exposure to the game. Hopefully we're not going to 3-on-3 too much this year.
So transitioning to this coming weekend, you guys are playing in a tournament style. We'll get to the teams that you guys will be taking on this weekend, but it's the Bengals Classic. Just talk about the tournament style and what do you like about it?
Well, I like that the stakes are pretty. Not that the regular season doesn't have high enough stakes already, but you're playing for kind of a quote-unquote championship at the beginning of the year, and you always talk with your group that hey, the ultimate goal is to be playing for a championship, in the conference at the end of the year. So why not play with one or play for one, right out of the gate? And it's been great, the ones that we've done in the past few years, and a lot of good teams coming through here, and Yeah, it'll be another 3 good teams coming out to Buffalo. We're excited to host them. Obviously, it's beneficial for us getting 2 home games right off the bat. And you really get to see, kind of what you're made of with just 2 different looks. And obviously, we know who we're playing Friday, but Saturday's kind of up in the air, which kind of makes it exciting as well that, you can play either of the other 2 remaining teams. So, yeah, it'll be a fun weekend for our guys, and just, time to put it all back together again, and hopefully put a better foot forward than we had over this past weekend, because we know that the teams, whoever we play, are going to be much better than what we saw this weekend. But I also expect our guys to come out buzzing and be better than we were this past weekend.
All right, speaking of this Friday, the team is set to take on Kings College at 7 p.m. Last season, Kings College defeated you guys 4-2. Just talk about some of the things that Kings College does really well.
They work hard and they were gritty from what I remember last year. I think there came a point, and we jumped out, early on, and maybe 2-0 after the first period, and they came battling back and, kind of frustrated us and got us away from our game. And so, again, I think we need to focus on our start and how we're starting, and that all begins with our practices this week, our preparation moving into the game, and how dialed and how focused we are. And we need to get off to obviously a good start. It doesn't mean we need to be up by 3 or 4 goals after the first period. I want to see us have energy. I want to see us playing with some passion. I want to see us doing the right things, both with and without the puck, and really playing our hockey, our game. And I think if we can do that, I don't see any reason why we can't win. If we don't play our game and we kind of get away from it, then I think we're going to be not real happy with where we're at Friday. So we'll see. We got a lot of work here to do the rest of the week to prepare for Friday night, and we'll kind of see what happens when the puck's dropped.
So obviously earlier you mentioned that there are 3 other teams in this tournament. We already talked about Kings, but the other 2 are Salve, Regina, and Arcadia. They are set to play at 3 p.m. this Friday before you guys, and you're going to probably run into one of the 2 of them. Just talk about both of those teams and what they do well.
Well, I don't know much about them. We haven't, at least in my time here, we haven't played either team. Arcadia is fairly new, so it'll be really our first time seeing them, and we haven't played Salve in, like I said, in the past 8 years, at least that I can recall, and so don't know much about them. I know that today the D3 poll came out and they were receiving votes. So if that tells you anything, I think they'll be a pretty good hockey team and a good test for whoever gets to play them on Saturday. But I think for us, again, we're just focused on our game on Friday and trying to win that, and then whoever we play on Saturday, we'll kind of turn the page and deal with then. But I'd expect 4 good hockey games, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, regardless of who's playing on Saturday. Hopefully, we're obviously playing in the championship. That's our goal. But you can't do that obviously if you don't win Friday.
All right, that has been another episode of Mondays with Murph with myself, Evan Harrington, and Bengals head coach Steve Murphy. We'll see you guys after the weekend, after the Bengals Classic, for another episode of Mondays with Murph. Thank you for tuning in.